Hey everybody, McGrower31 back here for FSI DFS. We've got every Major League Baseball team playing tonight for Friday, the 27th of August, but we do have some weather concerns. So I'm not going to go through every single game here. This video will be way too long. It's just going to confuse you guys. You're going to smoke coming out of your ears. So I'm just going to go over the weather concerns we have. I'm going to do a quick breakdown of pitchers, talk about some stacks, and we're going to give you 3 builds for cash with 2 pitchers in each one, and turn you loose, and hopefully you have a good profitable night. So the weather concerns are, let's see here. Arizona and Philly, it's mostly the East Coast games. About a 50 to 40% chance of rain there. Not sure if they get that win. St. Louis and Pittsburgh, that one's a little bit better. It's about 40% up to first pitch, and then it drops off quickly. So that one looks a little bit better. Baltimore looks like Tampa Bay, maybe a little bit of rain this afternoon, but it should clear up by game time. The Mets in Washington looks pretty bad. It's almost 60% chance of rain through most of the time that they'd be playing. Boston and Cleveland, I think they're okay there. Maybe like a 20%, maybe some light rain during the game, but nothing too exciting there. Detroit, Toronto, they're okay. Maybe a 20% chance of rain. San Francisco, Atlanta, it looks like it might get a late start there. Pretty heavy rain throughout the afternoon, and then towards game time, it should taper off. And then another bad situation is Minnesota. It's about a 40% chance of rain there. So it is 9 o'clock in the morning on the dot in the East Coast right now while I record this. So lots of things can change. So, just pay attention. Situations can get better. Situations can get worse. If we do see that any games are like canceled or look really bad, maybe we'll throw some things in the comments below. So, check back on these videos. It would around like 6:30 at night. If it's a 7 o'clock slate, we often will throw comments in there. Or if you have a question, do you think a game will play or not? We're not meteorologists here, but we'll give our best guess based on what we've seen throughout the industry of what people are saying, whether, to proceed with the players that you're looking for in those games or to pull back and make another decision. Okay, so I am going to go to DK quick here. And screen share. There we go. Okay, so looking at pitching, McClanahan is the highest priced pitcher on the slate here, which is absolutely ridiculous. I don't think I would play that much for Ruth McClanahan, and I love the Golden Girls. So he's definitely out. Garrett Cole, I think, is the clear number 1 against Oakland. Think he can go out there and dominate that lineup. It's mostly a right-handed lineup. So definitely he's in play there. Aaron Nola, I really like him against Arizona, but the weather is in question though. So if you want to pivot off of Cole, save $300, I think we're good there. Gossman says he's out, but he should be coming back. He's against Atlanta, good offense, possible rain, not too interested there. Musgrove, I think, is one of the few mid-range pitchers that I'm interested in tonight. There's really nobody in the middle range that really does interest me much. I guess you might call him more of the upper range because he's almost 10K. So I think, against if he can get past Ohtani, he's fine. But I think I'm going to be focused on Cole or Nola, just pay up a little bit more for those two. Erod, the same thing. I don't know how deep he goes in this game. Cleveland's been hot recently, getting there. So not super interested in him, but I think he is viable in that price range. Wade Miley against Miami. In Miami, it's a good matchup for him. It's a good pitching stadium for him, so I think he's viable, but 9.2 is just seems a little too high. Eric Lauer, not really interested against Minnesota. They have been putting up some runs, even though they sold off most of their lineup at the trade deadline. But again, with the weather there, I don't know if that game plays. Max Fried, again, the weather, I think he's a GPP option. Sean Manaea, I think, might be the ultimate YOLO play here. I'm not recommending it, but if you want to take a dart in a tournament, he might be the guy at 8.4. He's a decent pitcher. He gets the Yankees lineup. They've won 11, 12 games in a row, but they do have some strikeouts in that lineup. And if they do have an off night and they, travel all the way out to the West Coast and a little bit like sleepy, trying to adjust to the time change and everything, this might be the chance to take advantage of them. So not saying that this is a stone cold lock play or anything, just speculating it might be an intriguing leverage GPP YOLO play. Mets against Detroit, not super interested in. Detroit has gotten to some average pitchers. J.A. Happ, it's Pittsburgh. His price is way too high. And I think, rain there. Then we come to Gilbert. I think Gilbert's going to be locked in as my SP2. I really like him in this situation against Kansas City. I know he struggled those last two starts. He's had a great rookie season up until that, but he was up against two really good offenses. He goes home. He gets a good matchup. Really like him here. I think that, he is definitely going to be what I need in SP2 to open up the value I need to get the bats in tonight. Zach Thompson, not interested in. He doesn't go deep enough in games. Widener, no thank you against Philly. Philly is a good stack if things stay good there. Kyle Freeland has pitched better. I just don't want to take him against the Dodgers. Rich Hill, not interested in. Odorizzi against Texas. I guess if you need to drop down into this range, he and Keuchel are both against teams that have struggled recently. Both against teams that have surprisingly beat up on pitchers that we thought in good situations also. So if you don't trust Gilbert or you need to save another grand for bats, then Odorizzi or Keuchel are definitely options that I can see. Okay. And then the final one I would say would be Bubik. He, again, has struggled a little bit too, but Seattle's not a great team other than, a couple of their left-handed bats there. So I think that he is viable also, but I'm not going anywhere below that. All the rest of these guys down here are nothing but trouble. So just avoid. So let me see here. So talking about stacks, I think Tampa Bay is definitely going to be my favorite stack tonight up against Matt Harvey. Then Toronto would be number 2, followed by Boston against Allen. And then San Diego, I think, is going to be number 4. I like the matchup there. For GPPs, I think Cincinnati is in a really good spot. Chicago White Sox also are in a decent spot for GPP. Houston would come in 3rd, and then the Yankees would be 4th. Like, Manaea is a good pitcher. They're relatively cheap. I think they're going to have low ownership. I think people are going to go to different places. But with these stacks, like, these are some of our, like, Houston is fully healthy. Like, Tucker's back in the lineup. He's super cheap. Yankees, they have some good pricing there. Just you have to figure out who's playing. Same thing with the White Sox. They're more expensive up top, but they're reasonable in the middle. And Cincinnati, a good matchup there. So those are teams that I don't think are going to be as popular as Tampa Bay, Toronto, Boston, and possibly San Diego. Cheap side, I like Seattle, definitely against Kansas City. They're cheap if you're not playing Bubik as a pitcher. Washington and the Mets, I think, make a really good. I think that's going to be some runs in that game. You're against 2 average pitchers. Just have to watch the weather, make sure it's going to play. And then Pittsburgh would be my cheapest low one there. Leverage stacks, Cleveland against Erod, if people are going to play him. I think Texas is, another stack to consider if you're looking for leverage stack there. The A's against Cole, Cole has had some off games, so the A's are super expensive. And the same thing with the Dodgers against Freeland. I don't think many people are going to be playing Freeland, but I think, if you're looking for a stack that's not going to be people playing that much because they're going to be going after these other stacks, I think they might work out. Like, every team's in play tonight because every team is playing tonight, but again, I think the weather's going to be the biggest concern there. The Dodgers too, they face a lefty, so Pujols might be in the lineup, and he's relatively cheap. So not that you really ever want to one off a first baseman, but if it fits your build, that works there. And like I said, my concerns and other stacks that I like is Philly. I really, really like that one, but I'm just concerned that the rain is going to interfere with that game. Milwaukee, I think, is another good situation too. St. Louis and Minnesota. So we'll just have to keep an eye out there. But again, Tampa Bay, Toronto, and Boston. So let's look at those teams. So said pitcher, I said, sign me up for gotta get back up in here. Gilbert is my SP2. Cole is my SP1. And the first stack, let's look at Tampa Bay. They're pretty expensive. So catcher, looking at him, I think there's not that many cheap ones tonight. Maybe Cisco from Washington at or Matt's one of those two. He's in that game. He's about 2-3. But I think I'm going to go with Maldonado. Seems to be in an okay matchup. It's actually Maldonado. Spelling was never my strong suit. There we go. So 23. There's another couple guys in this range. For some reason he doesn't bat today. He gets a day off. There's other guys you can pivot there. So let's look at our Tampa Bay stack, who we're going to take. And these guys are expensive, and I don't know who's going to start. Tampa Bay sometimes rotates guys in. So I think Lau's definitely a priority. Harvey, some reverse splits. I'm okay with Cruz, okay with Franco, okay with Meadows. So there's 4. So then who is going to be my 5th one? I think we're going to go with Randy. If you want to take another one of these guys, if like Boucher is in there, or somebody that's going to, or Margot, somebody that's going to save you some money, definitely put them in there, because as you can see, we're not left with much. We're going to be punting third base and outfield, and there's a lot of 2K guys in outfield that works today. I think one that I had my eye on was like Robles. If the Washington game does play and he does lead off there, at 2K, I think definitely he's got some speed. Contact hitter, can steal some bases, so I'm okay with that. And then you just have to figure out who you want to play for third base, and there are some cheap options that work to finish off that one. So that would be the Tampa Bay build. Let's look at the Boston build next. So I'm going to take out the Tampa Bay players. So who do we want for Boston? Boston, Devers, even though it's a lefty and lefty, he's a doubles machine. He can hit well against lefties. I'm okay with that. Xander was out yesterday. I think he's back in. Schwarber, lefty on lefty matchup. I'll take him at this point. Renfro's out on bereavement. This would have been the perfect spot for him. I would have played him over Schwarber, but he's going to be away from 3 to 7 days, so probably throughout the weekend, so he's not in play. Kiki is really good against left-handed pitching. I will take him. So who does that leave? JD got in there. I am going to eliminate JD Martinez. JD Martinez last night, I had a beautiful line going. I had so many home runs, and he gets me a 0. JD Martinez in the last 10 games has not got over into double-digit DK points, and he has had a lot of zeros. So this is probably the night he's going to hit like 3 home runs. So go ahead and play him, but I'm off, so I might have just blessed him, and he might have just cursed me. But anyways, I'm going to save my money, and I'm going to drop down, and I'm going to play catcher, actually. I'm going to go with Vasquez here. Like righty, he usually bats in the middle of the order. So this is going to give me like a 1, I think it's a 1, 2, 3, 5, 6 stack. And it leaves me some decent salary left to try to figure out who I want for the rest of these guys. Again, I think I might look at Washington if they are facing, I think, a lefty. So Zimmerman might be at first base. If Robles is leading off, there's 2 very, very cheap guys, and that leaves me about 35, 36K for the final outfield spot. If, there's another Boston guy that cracks the lineup, that's like if Arroyo's hitting up higher, kind of like him, you might need to pivot off another bigger bat. I think you'd have to drop Kiki, but I really like Kiki against the lefty. If it was a righty, I might take the savings there. So some choices there. And then finally, let's look at how we build Toronto. And again, if you need more salary with some of these, like the first one where you only had 2,100 left, if you want to drop Gilbert down to like Bubik or some of the other cheaper guys that I mentioned, I'm okay with that. Like Dallas Keuchel, but there's no really K upside there. Odorizzi, I don't know how deep he's going to go into the game. He's not really a strikeout pitcher either. But if it gets you some more salary and gets you where you need to go, then that works. It's just these huge slates. There's just so many options. That's why sometimes on nights like this, it's fun to play the off slates. So you just on FanDuel, if you play the expresses or if you play like the evening slate or the late slate or the after hour slate or whatever they call them, it's makes it a little bit more fun. So you can just concentrate on like fewer games, and sometimes your lineups are easier to make. Ownership's higher, of course. But okay, so let's look at the Blue Jays. For Blue Jays, I'm going to take their catcher here. They have looks like Ryan McGuire is projected to play 2-5, like him there. Then and actually these Toronto prices are pretty like Vlad's below 6K, Semion's at 5K. He was up there. Timo, like some of these guys like Bichette, they've come down in pricing. So there's the 6 I'm going to take: McGuire, Guerrero, Semien, Bichette, T, Hernandez, and then that leaves you third base and outfield left. I was kind of looking at maybe Minnesota here. If that game plays, I kind of like Donaldson matchup. And then there's some really cheap outfielders on that team and some potentially good spots. So I don't think you can get a full 3-man stack here with pricing. Another one-off that I'm kind of looking at, it's like maybe some Baltimore guys like Urias, I think is third base eligible. Hayes is around 3K2 in the outfield. I don't know if you can get a full Baltimore stack, and I didn't try that, but I might try to plug in some of these guys in good situations, like try to find like a 2-guy correlation and then take a one off here. It all depends on these lines too, because they could come out and it could be absolutely, one of these guys could be sitting tonight, and then you just figure out who else you want to put in, and it could, it's definitely what I took some of the higher price guys, so it's probably going to give you more salary than less salary, but you'll just have to watch that. So again, watch weather. I think it's going to be a good slate. Really like Cole and Gilbert, or another cheaper pitcher if you want those. I think that's where I'm going to go. Nola's in play too if that game looks like it's going to play a great matchup. So one of those two. I think it's going to be really hard to pair like Cole and Nola together. I don't really know like which stack, you might be playing like stacking the Washington Mets game, and if that one looks like it's good to go, I think there's going to be some offense there. I know the Mets have been cold, but I think this is a good chance for them to snap out of it. Minnesota, I think, is in a good situation too. If that game plays, they're pretty cheap. So some of the cheap builds you can get in there if you're going to go with that strategy. But I think the strategy is to go like Cole and then somebody in like around the 7 to 6K range. So thanks for watching. I'm MegaRuler31. If you have any questions, put them below in the comments. Reach out to me on Twitter at MegaRuler31, and we will see you next time.